Welcome to another edition of Riding Home. This time, Dean Legge and Matt DeBary going to talk about the opening in Atlanta and Stockbridge, actually. And Matt, it was a usual full day down there. And just quickly, who jumped out at you the most?
Well, Tate Ratledge jumped out the most, four-star offensive tackle from Darlington up in the Rome area. I think this is still down to Georgia and Tennessee. He was in Athens yesterday, which was Saturday if you're listening to this, and competed in the Atlanta opening regional today in Stockbridge. Was really, really good. I mean, he's got the frame, he's got the size, he's got the strength. He dominated, and we got there a little late, but every rep that we saw, he won, and it wasn't really close. Everyone else said beforehand in the early reps he dominated those two. So talked to him afterwards. There's going to be a big story coming up on Dog Post this week on Tate Ratledge, but he was really, really good today.
Who else jumped out for you while you were there? I mean, these things, for folks who are listening to this, I mean, most of y'all are recruiting people, but these events they can drag at times, and sometimes it's not as obvious who the top people or person is or was. Who else did you sort of take away as being very good? I mean, Arik Gilbert was there.
Arik Gilbert was there. Always good to see Arik. I mean, his frame and his size and just his skill set makes him the number one player in Georgia on our rankings and in my eyes. So he was always really good, always a mismatch for a linebacker. So he did his thing. But Myles Murphy was really good again. Five-star defensive end out of Hillgrove, really fast off the edge. So it was good to see him and Tate Ratledge go at it. They were the final duo to go against each other in that offensive defensive line, and they split reps. Tate won one, Murphy won the second one, and they split on the third. But yeah, two five-stars going at it there. Myles Murphy was really good on the defensive side, or on the defensive line. So, and then Arik Gilbert. Those were probably the top three guys for sure.
Were there any young guys there that sort of popped out and looked like they were someone to track from here on out?
Yes, I'm glad you said that. Micah Morris is a monster, offensive tackle out of Camden County.
Yeah, I saw something on him. That was
He is a bad dude. He's got a Georgia offer. Talked a little bit about Georgia with him today afterwards. South Carolina's coming after him hard. A lot of schools. But, I mean, this guy is probably a five-star in the 2021 class. He's just a sophomore, just a kid at 16 years old. But he looks the part. He plays mean. He is physical. And behind Tate Ratledge, it was a case for Tate Johnson at Callaway or Micah Morris as the second-best offensive lineman there at the camp today. Micah Morris is really, really good in that 2021 class. Might be the top overall player in Georgia for 2021. Jaden Thomas, a receiver who was also there today, was really good. Trains with Terrence Edwards, former Georgia Bulldog. He's really good. And then, of course, Julian Nixon, the receiver out of Centennial. He was not there today, but he is one of the top players in Georgia for 2021. But Micah Morris was really, really good today. Definitely a guy to keep an eye on.
Yeah, very physical kid, big. How tall is he?
He's solid 6'4". I don't think he's 6'5" right now, but he's a big, imposing guy, and he'll let you know he's mean and physical and still young, but super nice kid off the field. But he was really good today, and he had the camp buzzing for sure. So he was in the top 5 offensive line group of the day. I'm not sure if he made it to the finals. I'll have to go back and check, but he was really, really good and already one of the best tackles in the country, in my opinion.
So coming out of this thing, I mean, how many guys there today were either, had a Georgia offer or were targeted? Were there any surprises, so to speak? You've been doing about 5 years of these camps, and there is a lot of waiting around for something special to happen. Did you see of the guys who were being pursued by the Dogs? Did you see anything that surprised you in any way?
No, they were all as expected, who we thought they were, and they played, kind of how their rankings are now, and they all proved why Georgia's going after them so hard. But there's a linebacker who got a Georgia offer after the camp, Landeth Whitehead, a linebacker from Athens Academy, 2020 linebacker, and this is an offer that he wanted. He's wanted for a long time, and he just texted me a couple minutes ago some quotes that I'll have up on Dog Post probably tomorrow. But he's a guy who I think Georgia's going to start pursuing more and more and more. They offered him today. I think if he's a take in this class, they'll be tough to beat. So the linebacker spots are limited for sure. They're going after a guy Maryland, Mikael Sherman, Justin Flo out in California has Georgia high on his list. But they did offer a 2020 linebacker from Athens, Georgia today. You don't really see that often as Georgia goes national for these last few classes, but they could stay very, very local with one of those linebacker spots in this class. And Lenneth Whitehead was really good today. About 6'2", long, athletic, bigger kid than I was expecting. Had a really good day, and Georgia offered him after the camp. So he is a guy who's becoming more and more on the radar, and a guy who picked up a big offer today from Georgia. So he's a guy to know as well.
What is the landscape of the recruiting calendar? I mean, you've had MVP camp, you've now had the
opening today.
The opening, excuse me, and then what's left out there from this spring season? I mean, soon here will be in April, and coaches will be out on the road soon thereafter that.
Yeah, next Sunday is the Under Armour camp. So it's not in April this year. It is next Sunday. And I hope guys like Justin Robinson will be there. He's a wide receiver commit for Georgia, 4-star receiver. He was not there today. Cartavius Bigsby was not there at the opening today. Was looking forward to watching him. So there were still a few guys who, for some reason or another, maybe they had a camp yesterday or traveled or were on a visit, couldn't make it back, that did not participate. So still an opportunity to see some of the region's best at the Under Armour camp next Sunday. And then there's the final MVP camp at Kennesaw Mountain High School on the 14th. So still a couple camps out there. And then as we go into the summer, obviously, they will go into the college type of camp. So,
well, you know, Matt, the Nike camp has been around forever. That thing originally started in originally. That thing, I was at the 2002 Nike camp in Athens at the University of Georgia. That thing has been going now almost 20 years. It's not the same as it used to be. I think it's much more sophisticated now than it once was. But, you know, you see guys like Tate Ratledge. I mean, how long? I mean, what year is he again? He is young still. Is he not?
No, Tate's 2020.
Oh, no, he's 2020. So I get confused.
Micah Morris is 21.
We shot Tate Ratledge as a freshman when Darlington came to play Prince Avenue in the first round of playoffs, whenever that was. And I guess I keep thinking about how young he was. But if you watch, if people are listening to this on iTunes or SoundCloud, they can't see it. But on YouTube, you can see some clips of Tate Ratledge. He's certainly physically developed and so forth. It's going to be interesting to see with the Vols and Georgia who wins out there. I mean, you've got Will Friend against Sam Pittman. Sam Pittman has proven over time how good of a recruiter he is, but Tate Ratledge is on. You know, you hear the discussion behind the scenes at least a while ago that Tennessee was going to be tough to beat out there. You know, and here we are. Could Alabama jump into this at the end too, or is it mainly Georgia and Tennessee?
He said Alabama's still in it, but I do think they've taken a step back when they lost Brent Key, their offensive line coach, to Georgia Tech. Tate Ratledge is not going to Georgia Tech, but he did love Coach Key, and a lot of guys did. He was a big reason why Alabama's offensive line was so strong for many, many years. So I do think Alabama's still in it, but right now I think Georgia and Tennessee are the clear top two. And it's going to be close. I do think Georgia has a really good shot here. Obviously grew up in Darlington, North Georgia. He's got some Tennessee connections there. His favorite player was Peyton Manning because he grew up as a quarterback as a kid, wanted to play for Tennessee and be Peyton Manning and all that. But, I mean, Sam Pittman's done a great job here. He said he's known Sam Pittman since he was an 8th grader. Really close relationship with him. He was on campus, like we said again yesterday. So Georgia's definitely in the mix here. He knows that Georgia's Andrew Thomas might be leaving. Isaiah Wilson might be leaving. So he knows what's going on in Athens along that offensive line. And he had a lot of really good things to say about Sam Pittman, which will be in that story coming out in the next day or two. So lots of interesting notes there. Georgia's in a really good spot, Dean.
Go over to dawgpost.com, DAWGPOST.com. If you're listening on iTunes, SoundCloud, we appreciate you. If you're on YouTube, obviously there's more of these that are coming, including some stuff on Cartavius Tank Bigsby coming out this week, a long interview that we had with him. And that'll probably get on iTunes at some stage. It just is not used for that format so hot. So it's Dean and Matt. Thanks for listening to us riding home here. We will talk to you soon.